Hello, and welcome to My Left Ear. I'm Carrie Freeman, and I have a co-host, Petey Freeman, and he might be coming up here in a few moments. We'll see. He's on the floor taking a nap. So this is video 258. This is a liberal YouTube channel, and it is what? It's Friday, March 28th. We're getting close to April. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do a certain amount today, and so I don't go too long. I'm going to follow up tomorrow when I get up. I've got a list of things that I'm going to talk about tomorrow and runes tomorrow. So that's what I promise you. I want to reiterate a few things from my left ear, and that is what keeps coming up for me is, I nickname people not from an infantile place. I nickname people because it distances me emotionally from how horrible some of these people are. Oh, there he is. There's Petey. So for those of you who don't know, this is Petey, who just recovered from giant surgery, and he's just doing fantastic. Hey, Pete, thank you. I just love that he does this. Anyway, so our AG, Pam Bondi, I've named her BaywatchBondi. So I think she's crooked, and my left ear thinks that she's going to be investigated down the road, maybe even disbarred. I'll do runes on her tomorrow. I made a list, and I had a big aha that was similar to an aha that I had about Kamala Harris quite a long time ago. And that was with, I heard Senator John Ossoff from Georgia speak, and he was spectacular. Since he's gotten into office, he has like grown and seasoned and matured and confident. And my left ear went, oh my God, this guy is, he's got quite a future. Let me just put it like that. And we should keep an eye on him because he's got the whole package. And I really believe that strongly. So this came to me about 4 or 5 days ago. So we wish him well. He is speaking so well about what's going on in our country and politics right now. Keep an eye on Senator Ossoff. And then runes tomorrow are, I'm going to ask, are Trump, Moses Mike going after the federal courts? I don't think they'll be successful, but there's this kind of threat, darkness over, because they think the courts are doing things personally against Trump rather than knowing that all of his executive orders are horrible. It's not that they're partisan, these are just horrible things he's doing. And then my last thing, and I keep saying this, but man, oh man, I am really seeing this. I was watching somebody that is very intelligent, that speaks by themselves, kind of like from their back porch. And I don't want to say his name because I actually really like him, and I think he's super smart. But he went on a rant about how all the US banks are going to crash. And this is the kind of thing that just rankles me. We don't know this. And he is just telling people this is going to happen. So I have an issue with this threatening stuff that people do and that we really see online. I mean, the clickbait is, I actually kind of study it. And I go, this is a reason to be very careful. And I want to continue saying that. Be very careful if you're looking at all these different people who have shows like me, maybe even some psychic readers, although I think we all kind of know the good guys. But there's clickbait, and it will get your blood pressure going. It will get you up in the middle of the night, and be careful, all right? So this is where I'm gonna start. We've got these special elections, and I tried to understand the details of special elections. Too difficult, and I'm not a politician, but we've got these two special elections, Florida and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is already good evidence because there was one seat that was up, and Democrat James Andrew Malone narrowly won a special election for Pennsylvania state Senate seat in a stretch. This is exciting. In a stretch of Republican-leaning suburbs and farming communities, he scored an upset in a territory that a Democrat has not represented in the chamber for 136 years. Isn't that incredible? Republicans for 136 years. And this Democrat, James Andrew Malone, good going, congratulations, sir, broke 136-year cycle with the help of the most horrible and corrupt Felon47. He's helping us win because he's so terrible. All right, so that's Pennsylvania. That's good evidence. Everybody's very excited about it. Now we've got 2 seats in Florida, and it's about replacing Florida's Republican former U.S. Rep Matt Gaetz and Michael Waltz. Michael Waltz is, well, I'll get to him later, but he's one of the advisors now for Trump. He might be in a lot of trouble. He might have to resign, or he might be fired, but I'll get into that. And so these are going to be held in 2 of the state's GOP strongholds in Florida. But the Democrats are really, they've been doing very strong fundraising. And when you raise a lot of money, that's a good sign. That's a really good sign. So they've got strong fundraising in 2 of Florida's districts, and it's an indicator that the race will be more competitive than in the past. And I'll tell you, the GOP is really scared because already Trump wants to mess with the court system. He wants to mess with elections. He wants election fairness. That just means he wants elections easier for him to win. So it's not about fairness. This is just, we know that there's no such thing in Trump's world, fairness. So I have read, and we'll have to see if I'm correct, that even if Democrats, well, the Pennsylvania's in, it's a sure thing. If we won the 2 seats in Florida, we still, at this juncture, would not become the dominant. We wouldn't take over the House yet, okay? But it's a good sign for the midterms. And I'll tell you what, Trump is really nervous because, if, I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when the Democrats regain the House and the Senate, there's going to be, people are going to call for impeachment if Donald Trump is still alive. And I don't mean that as a joke, if he's still alive. He looks really bad because Trump had assigned the awful Elise Stefanik, and I call her Stinky Stefanik, that's my nickname. She was going to be the nomination for the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, but that's not happening now. He's calling her back to Congress because they're so afraid of losing. Because if they have to replace her seat, it could be a Democrat, and they're scared. So that's the sign. So Elise, I thought we kind of got rid of her, but she's coming back into the House, and she's probably really disappointed about it. I don't know. All right, so here's the runes, the first runes. I asked, because this number 9 year, I keep getting over and over through the year that I don't think Trump is going to survive this 2025 physically. You know, I don't think he's going to survive it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it's very strong. So I got interesting runes. Will Trump survive 2025? Meaning, will he live? You know, I got the rune of strength in the reversed position. And I edited this, so I didn't go on and on, but it said there could be a weakening of your position, Felon47. Your own strength may be used against you. This rune in the reversed position serves to alert and offer clues in the form of failures and weakening. And for those who are deeply unconscious, which would be the felon, it may be a jolt. A jolt. So when I think of a jolt, I think of a physical event, okay? I won't get too literal with you. As there is a constant cycling of death and rebirth. Death and rebirth. And it says, do not draw back from this passage, but if you have a stroke or if you have a heart attack or you're struck down in some way, you really can't draw back from it. It's happening to you. Nature is happening to you. And then in terms of will he survive, I got the rune of the self in the reversed position. All three. And I do not lie to you. This said the old has come to an end. This is the rune of initiation, again, in the reversed position. The old has come to an end. Now, we have to read into these runes because clearly they're not going to answer literally about an illness or literal death. So here I am interpreting for us. If you repeat the old, there may be suffering. He repeats all the time, and he does cause suffering. It advises him, call in your scattered energies and focus on your own life, which could be focus on your health, which I think he's in denial about. Do not dwell on outcomes of the past. Be present. Because when you suffer an attack or an illness, you have to be present. You can't fight it. You know, it's like fighting the river in the direction it's running. You may feel overwhelmed. And you may be exhausted from meeting one obstruction after another. And then here's another term that the runes used, that this rune in the reversed position is about shift shaping. And if you collapse or worse, that would be shift shaping into another realm. And you are, as if you are reforming on the deepest level. So, you know, leaving one's body would be reforming on the deepest level. So this indicates that I may be correct. But all I can tell you is, you know, when I keep getting hit through just my thought and it comes in this side, I have to pay attention to it. Yesterday I was driving in my car, and there was someone that I'd been friends with on Twitter. We've never met, but we've talked long distance and stuff. She got struck down by some illnesses. And I haven't talked to her in 5 months. So yesterday, my ear said, he's like, call her. And I was like, I haven't talked to her in 5 months. It might be bothering her. No, call her. So I dialed her from my car. She answers and she says, there you are, which was a kind of a funny response. And we started talking. She goes, I have to tell you, 40 minutes ago, I sat down and I started to write you an email and tell you that I'm not ghosting you. And then you called. So that's the ear when it yells at me. So I just want to share that with you. Then here's another runes that I asked. Will Democrats win 2 seats in Florida special election. A little mixed messages, but the initial was I picked the rune of fertility twice. And it starts out by saying, new beginnings, new beginnings. This fertility is akin to the moon, the intuitive part of our nature, and its urge towards harmonizing and adjusting. It embodies the need for sharing. And that could be a lot of things. That could be Democrats coming together and being more cohesive and sharing more. It could be that with wins in the House or Senate, that it's a share, how do I put this? The GOP are getting fed up with Trump. And a lot of them are beginning to speak out. This revolt that I and others have suggested that there's going to be this enough is beginning. And that's where I think the word harmonizing, and it does say in the realm of personal relationships. So this may indicate that there's a movement over from GOP to the Democrats, not maybe literally, but wanting to work together more. And it does say, the fertility twice, it does say this rune marks a time of joyful deliverance. It's a rune of great power. And it does say you now have the strength to achieve completion or resolution, which opens your new beginnings. It also discusses emergence from a closed state, a closed chrysalis state. As we resolve and clear away the old, we are released. They are released. And now, interesting, after 2 fertilities, we got stand still, which is I always consider it a very kind of cold and icy rune. But here's how I interpret it, a slight warning. It says that we may be entangled in a situation whose implications are in effect blind. That could be cheating. We may feel powerless to do anything, even sacrifice some long cherished desire. So there may be a fight over these 2 seats, but it says be patient. This is the period of gestation before a birth. So there might be a fight. There might be a delay. Going back to the 2 seats in Florida. So the standstill I pulled as a clarifier. It does say, this is why I think there's maybe a wait. Positive accomplishment is unlikely right now. There is a freeze on useful activity. Your plans are on hold. You have to submit. We have to submit if this comes up. And be prepared for it. But it also adds there's no reason for anxiety. There's always these hints and special words that are used in the rune readings. And I'm always picking out these words. So in terms of tomorrow, I'm going to inquire about, this is just the saddest, most reprehensible situation, the kidnapped children, Ukrainian children. Will they be returned? So I'm going to address that tomorrow with the runes. I'm going to ask the runes about the men who got swooped up in the El Salvador nightmare, who are innocent, completely innocent. One of them has a tattoo about autism, that are in El Salvador prison. So I'm going to look at, can we get them out? Will they get out? It's so dark, but I'm going to address it. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to explore, now, you probably heard about this. I have foul play question mark here about the mysterious death of former 43-year-old U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber, I think is how you say her name, A-B-E-R, who resigned after Trump took office, and she was found dead. I think about a week ago, really recently. My left ear thinks it's foul play. We will see. She really was working against Russia. She was doing that. So we'll just ask the runes. And then I purposely didn't go into the whole signals, breach of security, mess up on purpose, because there's been nonstop. Every channel has been about this, certainly news channels. And I was like, they don't need to hear this repeated, but I am going to ask who might be replaced, who might resign or be fired. I don't know that we're going to see a resignation, but I'm going to ask the runes about, I nicknamed Pete Hegseth. I nicknamed him Pete Hog's Breath because it makes me smile, laugh, and that's good for brain hormones, laughing, smiling. So this is the nickname. And then the chief advisor, security advisor for Trump, Waltz, W-A-L-T-Z, not to be mixed up with the governor of Minnesota that we like so much, Tim Walz. So I'm going to go over that stuff tomorrow. That's why I didn't have time today, and I didn't want to just plow through this, make it too long, and also, so I'll see you tomorrow. And whatever else comes up in my consciousness before I see you tomorrow will be added to this. So I have a quote here. Some of you that are closer to my age might remember a guy named Leo Buscaglia. And Leo was a professor, I think of humanities, I'm not sure, up in Northern California. He wrote a lot of books, and he was a public speaker, and he was on a lot of talk shows back in the day. He was on the original Oprah. And Leo was this big, burly, giant Italian man. And he was, I looked him up, I got to meet him. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I'd read his books, and I watched a lot of his videos, which you can probably find on YouTube. He spoke, and he was very uplifting, and he was very popular, and he was full of love. And so I found a little description of him in Google today. So it says, Leo Buscaglia was a cheerleader for life. He would say, life is a banquet, quoting from the movie Auntie Mame. And most poor fools are starving to death. So Auntie Mame in the movie said, life is a banquet, and most poor fools are starving to death. Leo was most closely associated with the topic of love and human relationships, emphasizing the value of positive human touch, especially hugs. And at the time, he was known as the hug doctor. And because people knew him, he would hug strangers. So this is his quote. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To hope is to risk pain. To try is to risk failure. But risks must be taken, because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. And there's a couple of scholars in history who said similar things. I love Leo. What happened is, years ago, I wrote him a letter, kind of a fan letter, and he wrote me back. He wrote me back in handwriting. And we started to have a relationship of letters back and forth. If I wrote him, he always wrote me back. And then one day I got a letter from him, and he said, I've made a documentary about love, and we're gonna show it at a theater on Hollywood Boulevard. Told me the date, the time. Would you like to come? And we'll meet. So I said, of course. So I went by myself, and he towered over me. I think he was maybe 6'2" or something. And he turned around in the lobby before the movie, and I said, Hi, Leo, it's Carrie. And he threw his big arms around me and gave me one of his famous hugs. And he said, "You're beautiful." And then he died suddenly of a heart attack. And oh my God, I really, really mourned his death. And every year he supported a lot of charities, and I get requests for a donation, and I always make a small donation because he was the real deal. Leo Buscaglia, he was the real deal. And here's another quote that I just picked up the other day from brilliant lawyer who talks to all of us every day and has so much technical legal information, Elizabeth Cronice McLaughlin. And she just said this the other week, so I wrote it down. This is a moment where you don't quit. And if you know Elizabeth, she's very passionate, she's very urgent, and she doesn't mess around. She knows a lot. She's very informed. So she said, this is a moment, people, where you do not get to quit. And I love that. And then finally, ending up like I always do with some good evidence. Pete, are you listening? He's conked out, but he did come up here, sweetie. I'll turn him around in a minute before I say goodbye. I saw this story and I just went, oh my God, that is just so special. You know, McDonald's and those kinds of places have cameras, and this camera was pointed at the window that takes orders and then gives people their food. And so a car pulled up and there were two kids in the back seat that were like screaming, "Mommy, mommy." And immediately the McDonald's young man saw there was something very wrong with the driver. She didn't seem to be alert, even though the car rolled up and then the car kept rolling. This young man jumped through the window and stopped the car. She was having some kind of seizure. She was passed out. And as the spirits would have it, there was an off-duty fireman right there to help him. CPR, the whole thing, and then called, and the medics came and took her away. And I believe she's survived. I don't know the rest of the story, but this McDonald's, this young man working at McDonald's for God knows how much money, saved a life. He was really paying attention. He was really, what a special young man. That's all I could say. It made me very happy. And then the fact that there was a fireman there. Oh, just like that, right? That's life. So anyway, I will see you tomorrow with more topics. I even have another one. I started, I don't know why, but I started accruing like a list of all the sexual predators in DC that are on Trump's team. And my God, there's a lot of them. So I'll read you my list tomorrow. Anyway, have a really good Saturday wherever you are. And we got to keep looking on the bright side and really embrace the good stories. Embrace that Pennsylvania had this monumental win after 136 years. Embrace that there's a judge named Boasberg who's tough as nails, very experienced, and is not going to let the Trump administration mess around. See, I want to swear, but I don't want YouTube to be mad at me. So I'm real careful about, the language, because I will swear like a sailor in my private life. I think it's fun to swear. So anyway, talk to you tomorrow for sure, and make it a good day. Okay, bye-bye.